has a lot in common with openly pro-Hitler main Democrat, but don't call him a Nazi because he hasn't been hiding it and is actually just a communist. Ironically enough, before the totem cough tattoo, all the stuff that I learned about him, personally from his Reddit posting and whatnot, made me feel like he was earnest. The Nazi tattoo, on the other hand, is insane. Bro, 2 washed up kick streamers literally went to TwitchCon dressed up you as Zakaya. What are we talking about here? Wait, what? What does that have to do with anything? Yeah, who gives a shit about that stuff? People are up your ass about everything you do. Yeah, I'm not talking about that shit. I'm talking about like people who lose their minds and try to like I'm talking about the ADL. I'm talking about like politics right now. I'm not talking about like silly drama shit. Maybe I should see how bad they'd lose their shit over my patch. Just wanted to say I love your shop. Defend equality sticker on the truck and Antifa Super Soldier on my armor as well. Keep up the good fight. And that thread over at r/tactical gear has me rolling. This is from r/SRA weekend. Socialist Rifle Association weekend. Graham Plattner wrote in 2020 that he had an Antifa Super Soldier label on his armor and discussed being active in his local Socialist Rifle Association chapter. Plattner, this was a dumb joke, like most of my old Reddit posts. On the one hand, he is trying to moderate. I think the worst aspect of all of this is that he's going to come across as insincere inevitably. Okay? Because I think you should just be honest. I think you should be honest about who you are and what you have become. Okay? Because it's very obvious that, like, on the one hand, in his private moments, in his private correspondence, like, it's very clear that this is a dude who went through transformational change in his own personal politics, right? It's clear. But he is so scared of coming across as like too heavy-handed on the socialist side and too much of a radical that he's like, oh, I'm not like that. I'm not like that at all. But then on the other side, people are saying he's a neo-Nazi. Read my chats. He changed. Can't be proven by saying, look at his own words. We know this. You have taught chat to demand more than just words. In Plattner's own biography, there are 5 paragraphs about his service and 1 paragraph about his current job. And then some Reddit posts. Where's the real proof? No, I think if you're looking at his own, like, if you're trying to sift through his own personal opinion, his like actual opinion, I think his unearthed Reddit posts are probably a lot better than whatever he's writing because he wants to, in his mind, win a goddamn election. That's what I'm saying. Like, it makes no sense. He's not doing this to win an election. He's doing this because he's posting on the internet. What do you think shows the true nature of someone? Whatever they were writing anonymously before they had any ambitions of running for office, or what their PR-backed statements are. He has, what do you want him to say to your chat is not the same he needs to say to people in Maine. He has continued to talk about how he's changed. Yeah, no, I agree. But the Nazi tattoo is ridiculous. And once again, like I said, you should, like, if I was running his campaign at this point, number one, here's a couple things I would have done. First of all, I would have said, once again, over and over again, that there are some things I don't agree with from all the way back in 2013 that I stated. And, the stuff about how he was an angry jarhead, all that stuff works, right? I'm wearing my apolitical Democrat consultant, my Democrat consultant hat. One, drop out now? No. If I'm running his campaign, I'm quitting Lamau? No. You guys don't understand the amoral nature of Democrat Party consultants, okay? Calm down and listen to, I'm giving free money, free ball. Okay, first of all, he doesn't have to win any of you over. Let's just make that very clear. He's running for a purple seat in Maine, okay, in the Maine Senate. So none of you are relevant in this conversation, except for maybe like the 12 Mainers in here who are going to vote for him anyway. So shut the fuck up. That's number one. Okay? Here's what I would do. One, I would come out and be like, look, I felt very disillusioned. I felt very disillusioned by my service, as millions of Americans do. And I went through this transformation, and, some of the stuff I'm just like joking around on the internet. It's embarrassing. It is what it is. But having said that, as far as my own personal politics goes, it's very obvious it's very obvious when you look at my most private moments that I never thought would be blasted on the timeline. No one would want to be judged by their private anonymous moments on the internet. He did say a lot of this stuff, but as far as he's leading in the polls, drop out. Why does Hasan take anything in this chat seriously? I don't. Yeah, he has the entirety he has all the labor unions backing him. He has Bernie Sanders backing him. He has even liberals backing him in the Pod John universe. And of course, all the left flank is not backing him. But that is yet another moment of the irrelevance of people in this chat when it comes to electoralism. It's understandable, okay? As far as the Nazi tattoo goes, one of the things he has to immediately do is look, I got this when I was an idiot. I never realized that it was I never realized that it was bad. I am instantly covering it up. That's completely unacceptable and inappropriate for anyone of any background or of any party affiliation to have a Nazi tattoo. And I don't know, donate something to Life After Hate or something. Okay. It is pretty wild to me though that leftists will literally run with a Jewish insider scoop from Matthew Castle. You're a 28-month subscriber, man. What the going on? Are we for real? Yeah, here's the NRSC communications director. By the way, the Republicans have been going extra hard on Graham Plattner because they also are fearful of his candidacy. They think that he is the man to beat Susan Collins. That should give you an indication. Accidentally got a Nazi tattoo. Regularly spreads anti-Semitic propaganda. Has a lot in common with openly pro-Hitler Maine Democrat. But don't call him a Nazi because he hasn't been hiding it and is actually just a racist communist. Ironically enough, before the Totenkopf tattoo, all the stuff that I learned about him, personally from his Reddit posting and whatnot, made me feel like he was earnest. The Nazi tattoo, on the other hand, is insane. The fact that not even the fact that he got the tattoo, that's already insane in and of itself, but the fact that he never removed it, he has a Totenkopf on his chest, that's crazy. What the fuck are we doing? If all of his other private posts were not getting your SS Totenkopf tattoo removed for your primary campaign because you might still need it for the general. That's funny. The last point of the Democrat is not real. He immediately told the guy to fuck himself. What do you mean? Maybe I'm too charitable, but could he be keeping it as a reminder of how far he's come? No. At worst, he knew exactly what it was and thought it was cool. Okay. And was at least not overtly anti-Nazi. At best, he is a complete moron and didn't realize what it was for as long as he did. And I think it's virtually impossible for no one to have warned him throughout the past 20 years. What are we talking about? The most charitable interpretation here is that he is genuinely not very bright. Wait, what? Maybe he wanted a cool tattoo and his tattoo artist was a neo-Nazi. Wait, no, that is literally what happened. That is, whether he knew it was a neo-Nazi, whether he knew it was a Nazi tattoo or not, doesn't change exactly what took place. His tattoo artist was 100% a Nazi. Okay? That's not in question here. No one is questioning that, I hope. No one gives you a Totenkopf tattoo if they're a tattoo artist and they're not a Nazi. That's not how that works. Okay? Hello? What the? His political director quit. Yeah, but the political director quit before all this shit. It is pretty funny, though, how much Axios and all these other places are actually hammering him on the communist stuff and the Antifa super soldier stuff as opposed to the Nazi tattoo, which is crazy. Goddamn, Americans, man. Yeah, the director has something to say about the tattoo. Plattner's political director, who resigned over his Reddit post, weighs in on the tattoo. He's not an idiot. He's a military history buff. Maybe he didn't know when he got it, but he got it years ago, and he should have had it covered up because he knows damn well what it means. I think, if anything, this is an op. The political director that came in and then out when she saw the Reddit post of him saying he's a commie. Okay? Excuse me, but that political director literally resigned publicly, mind you, because he said he was a commie in Reddit posts. I'm sorry. I don't give a fuck what this political director has to say. Like, that's crazy. They didn't actually... Would you forgive him if he had tattoos, a hammer and sickle on top of the skull? Wait, what? I would love that if he had a hammer and sickle tattoo. Are you kidding me? I've run out of self-restraint. Worse than when the guys on the train to Boston were fanboying over Reds Eats. The DC consultant class is up our U.S. Senate race again, and all you need to stop snipping at each other. This is seriously the dumbest timeline. Graham has an anti-Semitic tattoo on his chest. He's not an idiot. He's a military history buff. Maybe he didn't know it when he got it, but he got it years ago, and he should have had it covered up because he knows damn well what it means. His campaign released it themselves to some podcast bros, along with a video of him shirtless and drunk at a wedding to try and get ahead of it. The vault is open for the GOP to crush any dreams we had in the general, and literally everyone I know is fighting with each other on social media. We cannot be this painfully stupid. Yeah, also, if he had a hammer and sickle tattoo, he would be in worse shape than the Nazi tattoo. Let's be real. Americans are insane. I don't care about the political director who literally resigned over the... I don't care about the political director who resigned over Reddit posts. All of the stuff that like Axios is hammering him on makes me like him more, and all the stuff that is like the Nazi tattoo is just completely unacceptable. Anyway, an angry Bernie Sanders won't drop his support for Graham Plattner despite a Nazi tattoo on his chest. Sanders said Plattner, as a young man, went through some difficult experiences in Iraq and Afghanistan. Sanders, I personally think he's an excellent candidate, and I will support him, and I look forward to him becoming the next senator from Maine. When pressed on Plattner's Nazi tattoo, Sanders lashed out at the corrupt campaign finance system, adding, "We don't have enough candidates in this country that will take on the powers that be and fight for the working class." Like I said, though, one of the craziest parts about the Nazi tattoo that hasn't been discussed, at least from what I've seen, is the fact that if he got any other tattoos since then, and he was not shy about showing the totem cough, any other American tattoo artist would instantly go, "That's a Nazi tattoo, brother. I'm going to cover that up for you for free." Just understand that, okay? There are very few tattoo artists that would see that. There are very few tattoo artists that would see that and go, "That's fine. That's total. That's just skull and bones." No tattoo artist. No tattoo artist in the United States of America is going to be oblivious to that. You might be, and that's fine, okay? But you're not a tattoo artist. Tattoo artists, unless they are Nazis themselves, straight up know what the common Nazi tattoos are. They refuse to tattoo Nazi tattoos. That's the reason why they know all the symbolism, okay? No, I know he got it in Croatia. I'm saying if he's gotten tattoos after the totem cough in the United States of America, then someone, if they had seen it, would have informed him that either they were not going to tattoo him or they would cover it up for free. There are very few tattoo artists. Listen to what you're saying. A Croatian tattoo parlor in 2006. What are we doing? Oh my God. No, you listen to my words. I'm not talking about the very obviously neo-Nazi tattoo artist that tattooed the totem cough on his chest in Croatia. I'm talking about after the fact. Please tell us where these free tattoo artists that do cover-ups are. Not only are there entire groups, like entire 501c3 philanthropic organizations that specifically do cover-ups, because there are a lot of Nazi tattoo artists in prison that give people Nazi tattoos specifically for protection, even if they're not personally Nazis, but they're white. And if they're spending an extended period of time in prison, they join the Aryan Brotherhood, not because they agree with the Aryan Brotherhood, but they have to slot into one of the only groups that they can. And in that regard, there are plenty of tattoo parlors that will literally tattoo over Nazi tattoos. Erasing the Hate, the tattoo shop offering former white supremacists a fresh start. A 6-side tattoo studio in Mississippi reformed gang members and white supremacists such as T.M. Garrett seek free cover-ups for ink from their past. It's okay. A lot of you don't know how this stuff works is understandable. As the PhD, as the resident PhD in racism, I'm telling you. Yeah, it's very, very common for tattoo parlors to do free cover-ups for former Nazis and former gang members and shit. There are also, it's not even just Nazi tattoos. There are also gang tattoos as well that tattoo parlors will refuse to obviously tattoo unless you go to a specific parlor that is gang affiliated. And the ones that are not will actually offer you a free cover-up. These guys have to be knowledgeable on this stuff. This is their job. Dude, you don't know what you're talking about? I've worked in shops my entire life. Dude, you're wrong. That's one tattoo shop. The majority don't. Hasan, you have no idea what you're talking about with tattoo artists. There's only a handful of artists who do free tattoos. So do you know how many tattoo artists there are? If you worked in tattoo shops, I think you know better than anyone else. If you actually worked in tattoo shops, you know better than anyone else that tattoo parlors know what the common gang signs are and know what the common Nazi tattoos are. Right? And they will at the very least warn you. No, they don't. Okay, well, I've never met a tattoo artist that doesn't. That chatter is a clown. Shops all over Southwestern Ohio do free cover-ups for prison tats. More do than don't. Bro, you live in LA though? Like a random shop in rural America doesn't operate like that? I think you guys are wrong. Tattoo parlors often will have an entire book dedicated to tattoos that they won't do, like common gang symbols and common white supremacists.
That's a swastika. There's a swastika over there. He's got a swastika. Okay, so all three of you are 5'4" balding men in their 30s. And you all have tattoos of black and white lions with blue eyes.
It's so funny because you live in LA, dude. Go to Minnesota, they have no fucking idea. Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh my God. Bro, what the fuck are you talking about? I've never been to a tattoo studio that would willingly put Nazi shit on anyone. Thank you, chatter. That's what I'm saying. The chatters are not saying that. They think this is a LA thing. It's not just a LA thing. Please. Tattoo artists actually have to know the no-no tats because they can get in trouble with the wrong people if they're tattooing gang members with the wrong tats. Unless it's a parlor that is gang affiliated or unless it's a white supremacist parlor, unless you're going to like a biker gang parlor or a Nazi parlor that is known for tattooing people with Nazi tattoos, you walk into a shop in the United States of America in most places and you say, hey, I want this Nazi tattoo. They're going to say, no, we're not allowed to do that. I know for a fact, and it's not a LA thing at all. Okay. Yeah. Speaking from a friend who's a tattoo artist, most tattoo shops have photo albums of many examples of tattoos they won't do and train apprentices to watch out for these tattoos just so they won't be considered affiliated. I can't believe that people don't know this. This is like somewhat common.
And you're not in a cult. Cool runes, man. Yeah, no, I know they have a really long history. Is there any reason why you just got the Zig rune? Thin blue line, Punisher skull. Classic. I get it. Right next to the swastika. No, I see what you're doing. I see you got the iron cross. You listen to Motorhead? You don't. You said you're from India? Okay. Yeah, I ask because it's fine. Don't worry. You must have been born in 1988. You weren't.
This knife shop in Texas refuses to put Nazi symbols on a knife the old lady put in.
Yeah, Nazi. What are we wanting to put in?
Okay, Zipper knife. I need the emblem out of that to go into this.
No.
Oh, really?
Yeah, Nazi.
Yeah. Chatters, go to your local tattoo shop if you got the balls to do it and ask them for a fucking iron cross or ask them for a swastika or a totem cough and test it out for yourselves. You might get your ass beat, but go ahead. Go test it out. Live stream it, if you will, and see how they react. Okay? Obviously, don't do that. You will get your ass beat. Unless you go to a tattoo parlor that specifically does Nazi tattoos. Most tattoo parlors, even in bumfuck America, are not going to do that. The overwhelming majority of Nazi tattoos come from prison. Okay? They come from prison. They get tatted. A lot of the people who have Nazi tattoos get it in prison. Or they get it in Nazi affiliated and gang affiliated tattoo parlors. The point would hit harder if this vid was of a tattoo parlor. I'm sure there's fucking videos of tattoo parlors. There's probably a million fucking TikToks of tattoo artists talking about how they refuse to do tattoos. Public warning: most Nazis don't wear swastikas. Familiarize yourself with these symbols and keep your eye open. Yeah, they have like a book. They have a book of tattoos that they won't do. A lot of chatters, I feel like, have not fucking entered a tattoo parlor. I have. And not just in Los Angeles either. My dad had a shoulder tattoo for an Indiana biker gang he was a member of in the 70s and 80s. He got it covered in early 2000s for free at a local shop in rural Georgia. People do cover-ups everywhere. Anyway, I can't believe how much time we spent on this shit. That's crazy. I think a lot of people are just like trying to... they're trying to actively debate me for no reason.
Has been in the tattoo business for nearly 2 decades, so it's safe to say he's seen all kinds of ink, the good, the bad, and tattoos that can be downright offensive.
You're laying on the
dumb stuff and
hardwood floor.
Than others.
Now the St. Petersburg tattoo parlor is offering to cover up any racist and hateful images for free, with no questions asked.
Just trying to grab and use our trade, our skill to actually do something to help out and make people who are trying to make a change for themselves not walk around with something that's from their past.
Fredo, a Colombia native, posted the shop's latest offer on social media and tells WFLA.com the response has been overwhelming, with people from all over the country wanting to book a free session.
Yeah, there's a million stories like this, like feel-good stories about...
Stephen got these white supremacist tattoos as a teenager, and today he's finally removing them.
This is putting the final nail in the coffin of a life that I no longer ever want to have a part of in my life again.
A life where he joined white nationalist gangs. That's why he asked us to conceal his identity.
Getting tattoos of this nature, it's sort of like taking a blood oath, and it can be something that you can never betray.
A nonprofit called...
For the record, I can't believe I'm saying this, but Pete Heggs's tattoos don't even broach the no-no territory, by the way. Graham Plattner's tattoo does. Totem Koff is very, very well known amongst tattoo artists as a Nazi symbol. It's the third most popular Nazi symbol, but like Deus Vult or the Jerusalem Cross, stuff like that, you could probably get those tattoos in most parlors, for the record, even though they also imply eradicating Muslims, stuff like that. But the Totem Koff is 100% like 88, 1488, the double thunderbolts. I have no inside info, but my best guess is we're not yet at the end of whatever Oppo dump is currently unfolding on Graham Plattner. So those still defending him, and I say this with love, consider that when you're deciding if you want to keep going, he was clearly poorly vetted, and it might be time to move on. I think in spite of all this stuff, unless there is like something even more insane than this, which is like, this is the most maximum insanity. I don't know what the fuck else could there be. Like the only liability beyond having a fucking totem koff on your chest is literally just like being arrested for sexual assault or something. So, but as far as like people's reception of him so far, it does seem to me like the Democrats are weirdly enough defending him. Like liberals are unironically defending him. What is this? Regarding if people know the skull or not, 42% of consumers didn't know their chips were made out of potatoes per fortune. What the fuck? Also, it's not like Plattner couldn't afford to pay for a cover-up either. He had a decade to do something about it. I know. I can't understand what the fuck that is about in good conscience. Like, I think it's so insane. But in a weird way, while I think it's personally indefensible, in a fucked up, twisted way, I kind of like that liberals are riding for it regardless. Because under normal circumstances, this dude had... Here, I'll explain why. Okay? I'm going to explain to you why. I think it's like... I'll explain to you exactly why. The fuck is wrong with you? I'm going to explain. The reason why I think The reason why I think it's like interesting that they're defending Graham Plattner is because Janet Mills is right there. And Janet Mills is a pro-Israel Democrat specifically designed by the establishment Democratic Party to be the guy or the lady to go after Susan Collins. So there's two different flanks in the Democratic Party right now. You have the left flank with the Bernie contingency, okay? And you have the establishment centrists who have obviously put forth their best possible candidate. And Janet Mills is everything that is, brother, he is pro-Israel as well. Yeah, I'm not going to entertain this stuff. I'm sorry. If you think a guy whose first statement on the map, putting him up as like, you know, as a upstart candidate was Israel's doing a genocide and we should stop giving weapons to them, and you think that he is pro-Israel, you will never find, you think Zoran is pro-Israel as well, I think. Right? Like, that's crazy. There is a reason why they're going so hard after him. If he was straight up pro-Israel, you trust politicians now? So fucking disingenuous. You're so lost in the sauce. Man, please stop. I'm not even defending him. I'm just giving you what the different forces are right now. The different forces at play internally within the Democratic Party, and also the outside forces from the pro-Israel lobby and the Republican Party. Okay? Graham Plattner, due to his own stupidity or his own secret Nazi past, is eating it from every end. But the things that we do know about him, that has drawn tremendous ire from both the establishment Democrats and also the Republicans and also the Israel lobby, are some of his key positions, being pro-Medicare for all and being anti-Israel. Okay? But you are spending so much time talking about him when you could be talking about anything else. Yeah, because I choose to. Okay? This is my stream. Oh, fuck you. Oh, Jesus Christ. Oh my God. I can't even get through a goddamn statement without people fucking shoving it down my throat. Please shut the fuck up and just listen for once, okay? Anyway, on the one hand, you have the establishment pick, Janet Mills, AIPAC stooge, pro-Israel, 77 years old. I believe she will be, by the time her candidacy is done in the Senate, she will be like 80 something, okay? Classic institutional establishment Democrat pick. Okay? Classic. She will be 79 on Inauguration Day and 84, I think, by the time her Senate seat is up for a re-election. Perfect gilf age. Yeah. So while there is a candidate like that, the left flank of the party has decided we're staking our reputation and we are pushing for Graham Plattner. Graham Plattner's first major statement running for office is, fuck Israel. Israel's doing a genocide. We need to stop weapons transfers to Israel. Okay? This draws a lot of scrutiny from the establishment Democrats. It draws a lot of scrutiny from AIPAC and the pro-Israel lobby. And it draws a lot of ire from the Republicans as well. A lot of them are aligned on the Israel stuff, but I think they're also frustrated with a left populist, at least like seemingly left populist candidate coming in and overthrowing Susan Collins. Because if the Republicans actually did not worry about Graham Plattner running, they wouldn't be attacking him. They would be talking about how awesome he is. They would do the Pied Piper strategy, famously adopted by Hillary Clinton against Donald Trump. It was a major failure, but the Republicans would quite literally say, oh, it's awesome. Plattner's great. They wouldn't say a single damn thing about Plattner if they thought that he was a weak candidate that could lose to Susan Collins a lot better than Janet Mills. The Democrats, on the other hand, the establishment Democrats, on the other hand, are also going after him because they don't want an anti-Israel candidate to win. Because especially in a purple seat, if an anti-Israel candidate wins in a purple seat, a left flank candidate wins in a purple seat, that establishes something that the Democrats have held on to in perpetuity. The notion that you can only win red seats and purple areas by running establishment-backed centrists. Because Graham Plattner would be the most firm counter to the Marie Gluesenkamp-Perez's of the world. For those of you who don't know, Marie Gluesenkamp-Perez famously ran with the optics of a progressive and then very quickly became one of these Congressional Problem Solvers Caucus candidates, as in a blue dog Democrat, as in a dog shit centrist who unironically stood in opposition against student loan debt relief when the Biden administration was trying to do that. Okay? But because she actually maintains control over a red area as a blue Republican, the Democrats constantly fucking promote her as the method. This destroys one of the most successful arguments that centrist Democrats have deployed forever. Oh, Zoran's politics only work in New York City because New York City is woke, but it would never work. It would never work in a red area. Okay? It would never work in a purple district. It would never work in a red area. So, if Graham Plattner being like, I'm a leftist, blah, 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 all this shit, I'm anti-Israel, blah, 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 all this shit, is able to fucking unseat a Republican, this destroys that argument. It destroys that argument in its entirety. We already know it holds no weight. This is part of the reason why Bernie Sanders has actively pressed for Graham Plattner in spite of the overwhelming amount of opposition that has come his way. But what I like about the way liberals are responding to this shows me that by and large, Pod Save America watching liberals, New York Times reading liberals are also fed up with establishment centrist candidates because under different circumstances, they would be running Graham Plattner's chances look really bad, so we should do vote blue no matter who and go with the establishment pick, Janet Mills. But they're not doing that. Janet Mills is right there. Chuck Schumer loves Janet Mills. Chuck Schumer is pushing for Janet Mills, and yet all of these liberals are unironically championing a dude who literally got a fucking Nazi tattoo on his chest. So they're saying, I don't give a fuck about that. I'm willing to turn a blind eye to that because we need this kind of rugged, real American guy with really fucking stupid, indecipherable politics that ultimately says, first and foremost, Israel's doing a genocide, which clearly is giving him a lot of fucking institutional credibility, or not institutional credibility, but like credibility in the eyes of the voter base. Okay? And they're looking at his track record, or they're looking at his statements on Reddit, and they're saying there's nothing wrong here. I think that's a good thing. Okay? The Nazi stuff, not so good. But I do think it's a good thing that you have a bunch of libtards that are saying, 10 toes down, I would rather go with this fucking dude with a horrifying track record who, in his most private moments, at most has said he's a commie. He's a radical commie. He's Antifa. So yes, it's a bit like the New York Times liberals defending you in the comments after that guy called in. Yes, liberals are changing. I think by and large, liberals are changing. I think liberals, by and large, are far more comfortable with a person that in his private moments, the bar is so low for you, that is really sad. Can we just abandon electoralism and start a revolution instead? Sometimes I can't tell if like these guys are the agents in my chat. Okay? Let me ask you something, chatter. Whose technical proficiency are you going to utilize when you are doing a violent revolution? If you think every single veteran is a baby murderer that needs to be imprisoned instantly, can you point to a single instance where there has been a vanguard that has not been comprised almost entirely of disillusioned veterans, for example? You're being dishonest? No, it just doesn't even make sense in his own. I am trying to steel man his position here. We're not even talking about the fucking Nazi tattoo, which I think is irredeemable for the record. Okay? It's utterly ridiculous. I'm just asking people, when people go, dude, time to abandon, well, they have to face some accountability. Come on, dude. Time to abandon the electoralism route. Revolution now, guys. Weirdly enough, don't even think about how that shit works. I care more about the fact that liberals hear a guy who says, yeah, I did fucking tours. I felt very disillusioned. I was very angry. Okay. And I want Medicare for all. You shouldn't have to be a fucking veteran and get busted up to get government funded healthcare. Shit like that is playing a major role in the ways that liberals approach the conversation. And that is a good thing. Okay. I don't think that's a bad thing at all. Can you point to a single moment in history where a successful revolution occurred by working within the existing ruling party apparatus? Virtually every single instance until there's an opportunity for there to be a vanguard party to be formed. Like literally every single one. Every single revolution has had tireless work and countless work leading up to the moment of revolution. Every single one. Every single one. It is obvious to me that many chatters have learned about communist history and socialist revolution from internet memes rather than actually reading. And I suspect it's my fault. It's my failure. Because when I say, oh, I shouldn't be the only person you learn this stuff from, and you should actually actively seek it out on your own. Say one, go ahead, not a single party said, oh, we'll work with a liberal bourgeois party and get the money bourgeois elements out of it. What are you talking about? That's not what I'm talking about at all. Every single successful revolution has taken years and years of formative work working within the existing political constructs before that moment happens. Every single one. The difference between you and I is either you are being oblivious deliberately or are not acknowledging the history. There has never been formative, spontaneous organizing without exhausting the available tools within the working party infrastructure.